Good day, everybody. My name is Jessica Milo here with the B.E.N Network and the Caribbean Connection. I'm so excited to have you here join me with three of my friends to celebrate the Caribbean Heritage Week, starting off with Emancipation Day for Guyana and Jamaica on August 1st. And then later in the week, we're going to bring you about Independence Day on August 6th. Again, my name is Jessica Milo. I'm a licensed realtor in the great state of Ohio with a love for the Caribbean. So come on, join me and let's go talk to the ladies about the Caribbean. So ladies, I really, truly am thankful that you guys are here with me. And I wanted to ask you some questions so you can share with the group and our followers here at B.E.N your stories of being from the Caribbean. So we're going to start off with Marsha. What does Jamaican Independence Day mean to you?
So Jamaica Independence Day means to me just freedom, right? Just the independence of being ourselves, the ability to be ourselves. So, we were able to gain our independence from the British. And so it just gave Jamaica the opportunity to be Jamaica.
And Stacey, with it being August 1st, it's also your Emancipation Day. Can you share with our audience what Emancipation Day means to you?
Yeah, good afternoon, good day, everyone. Emancipation is a big deal in Guyana. It's really exciting. I think it's a time when everyone really wants to pay homage to all the shoulders that we rest on and all that happened to create emancipation here in Guyana. What I love about it is that it's celebrated by everyone. We have a very diverse ethnic mix in Guyana. We're called the land of six peoples. And so emancipation is something that's widely celebrated by every ethnic group here in Guyana. So it has a tremendous impact in me as an Afro-Guyanese, just being here to celebrate that this year. I'm excited to be here.
Beautiful. Our next question is from Marsha. Jamaican's national motto is out of many, one people. What does that specifically mean to you as a Jamaican?
So to me, out of many, one people is basically we are all one Jamaica. So it doesn't matter the color of your skin, your background, your ethnicity, your heritage, whoever. We are all one Jamaica. So that's what it means to me. Like we're all one.
And Marsha, how does the Jamaican culture influence the communities around the world?
So Jamaica is a big influence of around the world. Everywhere, everybody know about Jamaica by the music, by the food, by just our culture, by just everything, right? Like we stand out. No matter where you go, you're gonna find a Jamaican, and so we stand out so loud and proud. And so that's how we have such a big influence around the world because Jamaica is a proud country. And like I said, no matter where you go, you're going to find a Jamaican and you're going to find a proud Jamaican. So that's how we are able to have such a big influence around the world.
Beautiful. And Kelly, what impact do you feel homeownership has for the Caribbean families?
Well, home ownership is one of the strongest foundation for building generational wealth, right? For many Caribbean families and also Jamaicans. So owning a home represents stability, security, and legacy that we passed on down to our children or grandchildren as well. It's more than just owning a piece of the rock, piece of the island. It's creating equity, building financial confidence, and having, assets to build future opportunities, I think.
Beautiful. Now, Stacey, is there anything you would like to elaborate on how you feel the homeownership impacts the Caribbean families?
I think particularly coming from the Caribbean, we're used to having our own home. I think that's the bedrock here. In the Caribbean, there's really high rates of home ownership. So even coming over to the United States, the thing I knew always growing up is that, you have to have a home. That's beat in your head from day one. Like you strive, everything that you do is about buying your own home. And, Caribbean parents believe in putting you out there early. So you have to come out the house and and buy your own home. So it's really, really promoted in the Caribbean household. And I think the young lady said it before. That's what we consider a part of our wealth story.
That is absolutely beautiful. Now, back to you, Kelly. What financial advice would you give someone who is hoping to buy their very first home?
What financial advice I'd give them? I'd say just start preparing really early. Start to get your mindset ready before you think you're ready. So understanding your credit, having a savings plan, just having these conversations from really early, talking to a mortgage professional like me. Many people, they just assume that they qualify, but having that conversation from early, really getting a credit plan in check, and it's having a roadmap for tomorrow. I think that's a plan that we should all suggest to persons from early on.
Absolutely. And then Stacey, is there anything you would like to add to advice you would like to give? I think we might have. Stacey?
Yes, I think I got it.
It's okay. What financial advice would you like to give someone who is hoping to buy their first home?
I think number one is be prepared. Buying a home is more than be educated about what that means. It's more than just about being able to own the home. It's about also being able to maintain the home. So I think, especially for folks today, there's so much happening in terms of all the things that you have to do to stay in a home and maintain that I think the education piece, I want people to be, I promote definitely education ahead of buying that home, understanding all the ramifications that come with that. And making sure that you think about your home as your largest investment. And so I always promote to my clients that we're thinking about this as a futuristic investment. How will this purchase look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Pick wisely. Anything can happen. You may need to sell this earlier than you anticipate. So what are the things that you need to be aware of to make sure that you're managing and you're taking good care of this investment for the next years?
That's great. And to piggyback off that, why do you think the education is so important to a first-time home buyer?
I think particularly because I came out of the real estate during the financial downturn in 2008 and beyond. And I actually sold foreclosure homes during that time period and saw the devastation around where the majority issue in my mind that occurred during that time span is that there was a lack of real education around the ramifications of owning a home, taking on a mortgage that you can't afford, things like that. So I recognize now that had we, the real estate community, did a better job of investing in buyer education, that a lot of that could have been prevented. We were excited to promote those really easy to get loans, not thinking beyond the ramifications of those mortgage rates adjusting and things like that. So I think that education can be the difference between losing a home and staying in a home.
Absolutely, so true. And Kelly, I would like for you to kind of piggyback off that. What do you see on the mortgage side, why it's so important to educate not only a home buyer, but also your lendee, why is it so important to have that educational foundation?
Yeah, I think what Stacey said is definitely key, but education, I believe, removes fear and replaces it with confidence. So buying a home, as we know, is one of your biggest financial decisions people ever make. So when buyers understand credit, budgeting, loan programs, closing costs, and the whole buyer's experience, as you said, like those home home buying classes, they make smarter decisions and avoid those costly mistakes. So an informed buyer is always an empowered buyer, I believe.
I totally agree, 110%.
Yeah.
And Marcia, what does it mean beyond ownership besides just simply owning a property, more than just a foundation, a house, a roof?
So it means generational wealth to me, right? It means, not just building a home for your family in the present, but generational wealth moving forward, right? So your kids and your kids'
Absolutely.
kids and, the great grands and whatnot. So it definitely give some kind of strong foundation for you to be able to build that generational wealth for your family moving forward.
That is beautifully said.
Mhm.
And Kelly, what challenges do you see that the Caribbean buyers often face in today's market?
What challenges do the Caribbean buyers often face? I think one, the process of buying, I think in Jamaica versus buying in the States is very different. So maybe some misconceptions about credit, saving for their down payment, and just understand that, to be honest, the process, it allows in the States, it allows persons, they want persons to get into a home with as little as possible, right? They have those programs to facilitate that. So I think the good news is that these challenges can obviously be overcome with education and proper planning and working with, experienced professionals as well. But I would say the process of buying in Jamaica versus the United States is quite different, but it has its own challenges.
And
Yeah.
Stacey, do you find any challenges with your buyers?
Yeah, I think that she said it correctly. I'm here actually living and working in Guyana currently, and what's required is it's 30% down when
Right.
you purchase. Right, when you're purchasing a home here. And so it is, so there's a steep education process that has to happen when you go. And then the other thing here in the Caribbean is that people buy land, they build a house, or even if they build, and then they add on. So sometimes they don't necessarily complete a house altogether at one time. And people, right, they build as they gain, right? As you gain the to build, you build. And so there's a very different concept here in terms of home ownership than when you come to the States, and it's like they want you to purchase the whole house right away. And you only have to put down this little bit of money, and then I have to pay for 30 plus years. Folks may have a mortgage for 15 years here automatically, 10 years. And so I think because of the influx of opportunities we're now getting in Guyana, like we're now really promoting like mortgages. The other thing that's very different in the Caribbean from the States is that the interest rate is much higher here, right? I purchased a home here 3 years ago, and my interest rate is 11%.
Oh my goodness, it's like it was back in the day here.
Right. So my interest rate in the States was 3.5%, right?
It's a big jump.
Right. It's completely different. And so there's a wide education curve that you have to adjust. And then people just being real skeptical of what I have to take out this large loan, I have to pay so much money, I have to pay a mortgage insurance premium, I have to pay this insurance, that insurance, this. So the responsibility that goes along with that mortgage and all the other pieces that's included makes it just a very different transaction. Even the transaction itself, in how the length of time it takes. We close deals in 30 to 60 days. We're talking about 3 to 6 months to 12 months to close deals.
Goodness.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Vastly different than us.
That's in Jamaica too. We take anywhere from 4 months, even cash. It just takes a longer process. Yeah. So normally when the foreign buyers when they buy locally, they're not necessarily so patient, and they're like, why it's we can understand why the process is taking too long. And she's right. Like we put down a much higher percentage in Jamaica too. Possibly they start at maybe 5 to 10%. And most persons, they still want to buy cash. They say,
right.
yeah.
Most of the transaction here are cash. Like I said, we're now learning and promoting mortgages, right, in a very aggressive way here. So, yeah.
And also in Jamaica, we use attorneys. I mean, we use title companies in the States, but we primarily use attorneys to close the transactions here as well.
And you just respectively, like title searches, like how we have here?
Right. So that's done by the attorneys.
Okay.
Right. Everything is done by the attorneys. They draft all the documents. Right. The real estate agents operate very different here. So they really just find the buyer. That's it.
So basically, I would be the buyer's agent all the way around.
Right. Okay. And so they absolutely. And then the other thing that I found quite interesting, and I think it's extremely different from the States, is that the down payment goes to the seller.
Really? So it doesn't go towards.
Yeah, you know how in the States when we do the down payment, it's inside the closing transaction, we put down earnest money and stuff. No, the down payment is when you sign the purchase and sale agreement and the seller collects that down payment.
So it's just like kind of extra money to them then?
No, that's part of the transaction. It's your down payment towards the house. But that I'm talking about that full 30%. When you sign, it's going to the seller. There's not like an escrow company, the lawyer.
Or it goes to the attorney, right?
No. In Guyana, it goes, in Guyana, I just did my deal. It went to the seller. I had to wire him my 30%.
Okay. Wow. That's different.
That's different. I think it goes to the attorney in Jamaica.
Okay. I'm learning a lot because I just specialize here in the States.
It's
oh, wow. I could talk about that all day long.
Very
I'm
different.
looking at purchasing more property down there. So how does Black EXP Caribbean Network help your communities and get your mission, respectively, for your countries, for all three of you? How can we help bring awareness to the Caribbean, but how can then help you get that mission, out to the masses?
Well, I'm really excited about just the whole concept of being in the Caribbean Network because as someone who actually is living and working between the States and Guyana, I think that just some of the things we're talking about here, there's a great deal of education that's needed, reciprocal education that's needed on both sides. And I'm a instructor, real estate instructor. I'm actually getting ready to stand up a real estate school here, and I just think it's really important from just an education standpoint that we have the opportunity to do that. So for me, I love just being involved in this and seeing how we can, from an education standpoint, create more reciprocal connectivity and learning from each other. And she said it, Kelly said it earlier, that, the folks come to the Caribbean, and I think their frustration level is through the roof because their expectations were not adjusted to meet the local environment.
Agreed.
Yeah. For me, I'm excited because just meeting y'all today, I'm like, oh my God, I can pick up the phone and call someone. I'm like, what is the appreciation in Guyana? Like, just because, we do real estate and we're so excited when we go anywhere, we're like, okay, what is this? How do we, start to get real estate going anywhere we go? So that's really good that we can all collaborate and obviously, give others advice to and point them to the right direction. You know, you can call someone from Guyana, someone from Trinidad, and be like, you know, they can be a good guide for you to purchase there, which is because they're local and they know the process, they know the system. If you don't know the system, like in Jamaica, you can get lost because you're thinking that, okay, we're gonna close in 30 days, everything is automatic. No, we do everything is by original signatures here. We don't do anything e-sign. So the questions that we don't know, I love that we could definitely have someone to call right away.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, no, that's so amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I agree with Kelly, because like you have that connection with the different countries and things like that. So I think that is very important. And also to educate people too. I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between a Caribbean person and say a Black American, right? They think that we're all one and the same, because I've been told like we're all one and the same. They need to understand that we have different culture, different, things that we do versus the average Black American. Like you said, I forget your name, I'm so sorry. But when you said that they need to understand that when you go to that country, like they have to, for them to adjust their expectation, right? And I think like we need to educate others that, yeah, when you go to Jamaica, you cannot act and behave like America, because it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying?
A little patient. It's much slower.
Yes, it's not gonna work. So I think like there's a lot of education that needs to be had, for the people out of the Caribbean community, but to have that connection with the different islands, in Guyana and Trinidad, Barbados, all those places, to have that kind of connection.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000% with you ladies there. I think you kind of answered the next question kind of collectively in that last, those remarks about why collaboration is so important, not only as a Caribbean, but how Black EXP can help educate, and you guys as ambassadors of the Caribbean, how you can still live proudly of your respective nations and bring the Americans that education who are not so familiar with the culture and the cuisine, the home buying process, to everything that embodies the Caribbean. And I think you got something beautiful going on. So for all three of you, I'm excited to see what, do you have for young people who are growing up today buying a home? How is it, different now than it was, maybe like then when our parents were younger? What do you feel advice you can give them growing up in today's world?
Go ahead.
So yeah, I have a 31-year-old and a 25-year-old, and they actually work with me because we do real estate, but we also have other businesses, construction, government services, logistics, and I was surprised because they've grown up, living in a home their entire lives, and so they look at the homeownership very differently in today's age. They look at it more from a investment standpoint. Oh, yeah, can I buy a home and try to flip it and make some money? And so they're not seeing. I was surprised to hear my daughter saying, "Mommy, most of my friends now are not like focused on home ownership." Right? The thing for them that's a little different, even though both of them are, now. I've have them focused on more on the investment side, right? So we have bought property here in Guyana, and we're getting ready to do our own development. I've made them partners in the development. They get to sit in the meetings with everybody, the lawyers, the partners, the architects, everything. And so what I'm promoting to them is the impact from a wealth standpoint of ownership, right? So it's not just about getting and flipping a home, but what are the long-term effects of ownership? And so I own my personal home full and clear. And so I tell them all the time, anything can happen. And just imagine if something happened to me and you had to worry about caring for me and paying my mortgage and all these other things. Think about the relief that it gives you, the biggest cost that I would have to incur, that it's something you just don't even have to think about because I don't have a mortgage, right? So just educating them from very young that homeownership is more than just about having a home. It's the long-term direct financial impact and the stress, reduction of stress that it gives you as you become older and in the event that something happens, right? So just, and I think they have to understand it from that standpoint first for them, because the young people are different. Oh, you need to own a home, you know, you need to have your own place. That doesn't work for them. How can it financially impact me? If something happened to me, I needed to make quick money, I could actually sell this investment. I just sold one of my rental properties so we can invest in the property that we bought in Guyana. They understand that, right? So teaching, I think it's easier to start at that standpoint because young people are focused on how we can make money fast.
Yeah, yeah. I would just say I'd start young. I just tend to save. I mean, save because you can't think about home ownership or that without nothing, right? So I think saving from at a very young age. I mean, for me, because we were in real estate, maybe this is a question that is much easier for us in terms of mindset. But I mean, from my kids before they're even born or as soon as they're born, that the land, whatever land they're buying, and putting it in their name, just as a safety net, right? So if anything happens, that's college savings, or that they can sell that for. So it's just peace of mind, I think, because the asset appreciates over time. So I'd say get in early when you can and buy right.
Yeah. I want to piggyback on something she said, which I think it's promoted in the Caribbean, but not in the United States enough, which is land ownership. See, we immediately talk about home ownership. In the Caribbean, you got to get a piece of land. That's like, because right, our mindset is I can always build on that land, and especially in today's market with being able to put a tiny home on it and all that stuff. So I think that we need to do a better job in interesting the youth in it's not just about home ownership, it's about property ownership, whether that's land or a home, that we need to focus on owning real estate, period.
Yeah. It's that safety net. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. And I feel like educating them from early, right? So educating them from early with the credit. So when my daughter started college, I educated her on the credit aspects of things, where I basically like educated her on the mistakes I made, right? In my younger days, in my 20s and stuff. And so I educated her on the credit, and now her credit is even way better than mine, right? So she learned from young how to, keep that as a forefront. So now when she's ready to go ahead and buy her house, she don't have to worry about the credit issues. She won't have any credit issues. So definitely educating them from young. And so my youngest, who's 21, he's now working on his credit. His credit is, nice for a 21-year-old. So that is definitely a big thing to do, is educate. And yes, you're right. These young people, they're not really interested in buying a house first per se. It's more, I would buy it, live in a couple years, and then rent it out for income. You know what I mean? I had a client that we just closed a couple weeks ago, and that's her plan, to rent it out for income after a couple years, and then go buy the next one, and then do the same thing over and over again. So they're not really looking like, I'm going to buy this house to stay in for 20, 30 years. It's really to build their portfolio to gain their wealth. And so a lot of times we need to also teach them that you can use this real estate to help gain your wealth.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Agree.
So as we're wrapping up, my other question for you ladies is, what does success look like for your communities? Is it just buying a house? Is it, a certain status? What do you consider success?
Anybody? Anybody? Okay, I'll
Anyone?
go. So success for my community is basically empowering more people to take the risk and take the chance to, grow their wealth, right? Because a lot of people, they're like, no, I can't. They have the most excuses on why they cannot, and don't look at why they can, and they don't look at the bigger picture. So I think having my community realize that yes, this is a possibility for you, right? There's people who look like us that can go out and do these things as well. And so just educating, like I said, we lean heavily on the education side of it, but educating them and letting them know like these are a possibility for you to do these things.
So beautiful. Stacey or Kelly, do you have anything that you to add?
Well, it means not only for children to inherit our culture and our values, but also the financial knowledge and asset that they gain from them building a stronger foundation that we had for ourselves, I think.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, my one of my final questions is for Marisha. Does Jamaican Independence Day, how does it inspire you personally? And then we'll go to Kelly for that.
Mhm. So Jamaican independence inspired me personally. It gave me a sense of pride. You know what I mean? Because I know what the people before me, what they had to go through to get to where they are now. And so it gives me a sense of pride to say I am a Jamaican and that, my people fought to get where they are. And I'm going to honor that. And I'm going to teach my kids that history, and like I said, no matter where we go, excuse me, we're still going to be a Jamaican, right? So I am very, like I said, Jamaicans are very prideful people, very prideful people. And so I'm always going to honor my people. And so it just gives me pride to know where I came from.
I love that.
Mhm.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Kelly?
Well, Jamaica independent inspires me to just dream bigger as a person because I know how resilient we are and how far we've come. Um, to obviously work hard, have faith within our community. Personally, it also inspires me to help others build as well through me educating them on home ownership, building generational wealth, mortgage educational as well. Um, Right, and I'm honored to do that every day in my Jamaican, I guess, culture.
I love it. And our final question for the evening is for each one of you ladies. What vision would you like to see of Black EXP Caribbean collaborative connection community bring to all of the agents in our brokerage? And I'll start with you, Kelly, because you're on the top of the screen next to me.
I would just love for us to just, I guess, get together like this, more collaborate, just hear stories from our generations as well that can inspire us. I'd like to hear more about their culture too, because you think that we're all Caribbean, but I'm not too sure in terms of, as Stacey was saying, how they purchase real estate or just what foods they like to eat or just the simple things, right? So just to have fun with it, obviously, to make new friends, gain long-lasting relationships, and see where we can all collaborate together. I mean, we could always dream bigger. Maybe we can all get together and build on some land somewhere, I guess, or we can own a little piece of the rock somewhere in another Caribbean too. So I guess just making it fun and just collaborating is always a great thing, and just meeting new friends around the Caribbean too. Like if I go to Guyana, I know who to call. Oh my God, I'm here, Stacey, pick me up from the airport. I'd love to come over. I don't know, right? It's just fun and take me to the best beaches because we love the beaches, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are definitely fun people, loving people. We love our people. We love life. We love culture. So I just, it for me is just on those notes, I guess.
And one of the biggest disagreements with Guyana, chicken curry or curry chicken.
I know. I mean, they don't eat hockey and saltfish and national dish, but
That's one of the thing that you hear the most, chicken curry or curry chicken.
You know what's so funny with that? I went into the restaurant and I said, "Hey, can I get some curry fish?" And the way the young lady looked at me and said, "Fish curry."
We like to curry the chicken, not chicken the curry.
I love it. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I think Kelly said it, like I'd love to see more transactions happening across countries. There's a lot happening in these different countries. People are buying. I would love to see the network do more to create connectivity across countries, where the Caribbean network is the place that you go to and promote in terms of the availability to do more deals and transactions. I'm standing up, even though EXP is not in Guyana, I'm standing up. I have a real estate company here, and so we want to grow it and stand up a whole training an education platform here. And I look forward to having a lot of EXP agents engaged. Guyana is now considered the fastest growing country in the world because of our oil wealth now. And there's a lot of investment activity happening here. And I'd love to see particularly the folks in the Caribbean network participate, get engaged, and try to get some of these deals going.
Wow.
Miss Mom, you're in everything. You're one of the hardest working people I know now.
She is. Oh my gosh. Like, where does she get time?
Right, when you sleep. So my vision for the Caribbean section of the Black EXP is basically connections, right? So I want to have more connections within the Caribbean community, because I mentioned there's tons of Caribbean people within EXP, right? And they don't have that community that recognizes just us, right? Not saying that we don't want other people involved, but like we have our community. So yeah, we can have the little argument about the chicken curry chicken, and they understand. You know what I mean? So like that's my thing, is the collaboration and the connection with the community.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, it has been so much fun. The Caribbean has always been a second home to me. And as we wrap up our conversation for Emancipation Day first, and then celebrating later on in the week, Independence Day on the 6th, I would like to thank you all very much about talking about your stories, your journey of homeownership and how it works, and sharing with everybody the mission of this beautiful group and its beautiful people. So everybody watching, I want to thank you so much for coming in and supporting us today. If this moved you, stay tuned, because there will be another one coming about Jamaicans Independence Day here in the coming days, where everything lives at BENC.theblackexpnetwork.com. Both episodes will be available. So if you want to see it at this table, all doors are open. No one gets left behind. One world, one community. And as we say, one love. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on B.E.N's Caribbean Network. Thank you for joining us for Heritage Week. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.